Okay, I'm making this. It's 2 a.m. Um, I'm just gonna start talking, and I guess whoever listens decides to listen. Um, Memories. The soul. Is the soul a thing? I mean, I know it's talked about, but where would it even go? Where would it even hide? The soul doesn't make sense. And where would it go after? Anywhere? Is there anywhere to go? Is there anything above us? I don't think so. Is there a higher power than us? I believe so. But should we worship that higher power? I don't think so. I think there is a higher power, and it is a higher power for a reason. And humans should not strive for that or worship that. Humanity needs to care about itself because striving for God and Jesus, and not even that, but other stuff that's bigger than us, just doesn't make sense. I mean, we're praying for gods, but the gods don't live on earth. We do. We're asking for help from them when they don't even live here. Why are we asking them? Shouldn't we turn to ourselves and say, talk about our problems, let's find a solution? This is our planet after all. Shouldn't we feel cowardice? Instead of solving our own problems, we look to a greater good to solve it for us. How lazy are we? I think we all try and find a shortcut in some way. Humans, the easiest way. It's never the hard way. Why not? Because the hard way takes time. And why are people scared of time? Well, time means death. Time means the body dies, and some people aren't okay with that. They want to strive for living. They are greedy. They're interested in this idea of self-preservation that I don't necessarily agree with. Like, yeah, that's the human being as a single is self-preservation, but humanity as a whole, I guess, is more so big picture, right? So, I don't know. People should be able to do whatever they want, I guess, as long as humanity survives. Honestly, it doesn't matter if humanity survives. I think it's just us humans on this earth, and that's it. And we need to accept it. There's those who are arrogant ignorant enough to not, and that's fine. Nobody has to burden themselves. Nobody seeks knowledge. There are those who don't seek knowledge, those who only strive for pleasure, drugs, which makes sense. Gangs, shooting, gaining territory on this planet, I mean, really means nothing. Leaving your legacy behind, trying to create a memory of yourself is the whole point, I guess, but shouldn't it all be to just enjoy it? I mean, in the end, you only have yourself. And it's just you. It's just you and your brain. There's no one there with you when you die. It's just you. And if people can't make peace with their inner self, then what did you accomplish during life? Just materialistic. It's all materialistic. Like I said, guns, drugs, drinking, It's all just, we're giving it something, just something to do, and that should be okay. Humans can live in ignorance of thinking, and they just want to, not have to exist on a sociable etiquette level. And I think that's why people get drunk, do drugs, is because the idea of sobriety and thinking scares. And I think in the end, mind over matter is what truly matters. Matters. You know what I mean? Nothing physical in this world comes with you when you're dead. But that's all everybody focuses on, because people fall into the sense of, it's in front of me. I can see it. I can touch it. So it's real, People don't want to delve into the unknown, the brain. Humans don't really are spending more money to go to outer space to try and find, whatever the fuck. They're just trying to find knowledge. Humans want knowledge. Humans are greedy. But, if they want to be greedy, and it's not really greed. It's just they want knowledge. And what's wrong with that? Humans as a species containing that much knowledge, though, could be dangerous. I think if we make a step too far ahead, that an outer being would step in to stop us, because they know our limits as a species. We don't. But I think if you start to look into yourself more and think about who you truly are, what connects us, thinking about the similarity, tree roots intertwining with the earth and your DNA, and these invisible bonds that you create through talking words, these strings that are created from talking to other human beings, because human beings are very sociable. If you're stranded alone, obviously you become hysteric and you start talking to yourself and creating something to talk to. This has been known. And it's like, why not delve into those connections, you know? You could have friends and people that, you know, really care about you. And you just got to think about it, you know? Depression is just, it's a really fickle thing. Your mind is your mind. And if you control your mind, essentially you can control your life. You can't control the things that happen in your life, but there's no fate, there's no bigger power that is creating these difficulties for you, or necessarily somebody looking out for you when something good happens. It just so happens the world is what it is, and, you know, atoms moving, cells replacing one another, change, stuff happens, a thing. You stub your toe and you somehow think it's the end of the world. Why did I have to stub my toe? What did I do to deserve this pain right now? And it's like, well, it's not about you, okay? It's just life. And you can use the toe stubbing metaphor for most instances. It's just small scale, and you can play it to large scale thinking. Any inconvenience, I guess, you can just whittle down to, I can't control it, but I can control how to react to it, how to fix whatever. If I stub my toe right now, what am I going to do about it? Well, I can't do anything about it, so why would I complain about it? I mean, I guess it hurts, so I want to physically make a noise, and that's fine. But there's no bad karma that I deserve. There's no good karma I deserve. There's no bad karma gained. Let's go to the other end of it, like murder. If you murder somebody, you would think that's some pretty bad karma, right? Like, oh, people say God will get him. But who's to say he will? Who's to say God cares about us at all, you know? Who's to say that he cares enough? I mean, he's not obligated to care. We created him, technically. The mind created God. I mean, if he's real, that's cool, but I'm just being realistic here. We created God. Okay? God is human because he comes from us. But why is God a higher being if we created him? Well, it's not it's not physical anything. It's mind. He's all-knowing. So knowledge. He knows everything. He can fix anything. So he has the ability to do anything. But why, when people pray to God, are they being so selfish? They're just internalizing their fears and praying to God that they need help. Yeah. God, I really, am broke and I need some money. I'm going to get kicked out of my house. First of all, well, if there is a God, he certainly doesn't care about your mortgage problems. That's the world. That's life. You fight for yourself. You fight for the people you know. You help them out the best way they can. We're all humans. We all struggle internally, externally. This world is built around money, food, power, wealth. That's the way we built it. That's the way we're going to live in it until it's over. That's the humans as a species. Yeah, as the night draws dawner, my mind grows clearer. This is a big ego death for me, I think. Jesus was human once, right? A man to a god, eh? Well, who made him a god? We did. Not physically. We didn't give him powers. We didn't give him the power to, open his veins and spill out some cheap Aldi wine from his godforsaken veins. Or tear off his finger and it turns into some stale sourdough bread. The thought is humans believed in one person enough that those thoughts and strength of looking up to somebody crystallized and turned this human into essentially a god of thinking. And I don't know. They say God, Jesus, sacrificed himself for us, But, I could do the same thing right now, but I wouldn't be revered as a god. Who's to say if he didn't go in a tomb for 3 days that the world still wouldn't be the world? I still wouldn't be sitting here in my bed thousands of years later, Who's to say any of that mattered? Things only matter if we give it meaning, Government only has power because we give it the power. Yeah. Everybody's different. Humans. But we all have shared experiences. And I think that's the point, is we're all supposed to be different. We're all supposed to embrace each other's differences and try and understand each other's differences. And genuinely talk about them. So, sharing knowledge, you have to fight that greedy humanity instinct of hoarding knowledge for yourself because you want to be more powerful than anybody else. That's just like, let's say your friend asks you what song that is, right? This is an ego thing. And you don't want to tell them because it's your song. And you think hey, it's my song. I like this song. So you don't want to share it. And that's kind of the same internal thinking is, let's say I'm saying humans are all different physically in a extreme sense. So let's say humans mutated. Obviously, we're all different in brains, and we all look different. Skin color, face, eye color, height, hair. We all look different. But let's say there was an extreme where I had a third arm. And let's say Bobby comes over here. And you know what? Bobby has one arm. And I have 3. And Susie over there has 2 arms. Damn. But Susie let's say is a cyclops and has 1 eye. So we're sitting here. What did I say the guy's name was? Me and that guy are sitting there. He's got 1 arm. And I have 3. Or whatever I said. And Susie's over there with her 1 eye. 2 arms. So we're all different people. We all have different external physicalities. Different experiences in our life. Let's say we're all 50 years old. So Ronald over there, whatever his name is, 50 years he's gone through his life with the experience of having 1 arm. And the experience of people sharing their opinions with him about his 1 arm and da-da-da. You know how cruel human beings are about their opinions. So, haha, you have 1 arm, da-da-da. I have 2. The average person would say that. And then let's look at Susie and say she's had a not similar experience, but she's had an experience also. So we're all having this internal experience that we can connect to, but they're not the same. So Susie's 50 and she goes through her life with 2 arms. So she looks at Richard and people are making fun of him for his 1 arm, but people aren't making fun of her. And how was that fair? Well, it's not. No one said it had to be. She's different. He's different. And I would be different because I have 3 arms. But we'll get to that. So Susie has 1 eye though. And me and Richard have 2. So we want the knowledge, even though we don't need it necessarily. Humans, like I said, can be greedy with knowledge. So we're just curious. We want to ask her, what's the world look like with 1 eye? And whether she wants to tell us because of insecurities, because we think we'll judge her because we don't understand. Obviously, we don't understand what it's like to look through the world with 1 eye. So if we judge her, it makes sense. But what I'm saying is, the whole point is, we should not be cruel. We should be open to listening. So let's listen to Susie tell her story about having 1 eye her whole life. And let's just come to understand, let's say she doesn't have peripheral vision. Or can't see color too, for some reason. So she can't see color. And I'm sitting here going and making fun of her. Well, not subconsciously, I guess, saying, wow, you've never seen the color red before, or you can't see my two fingers. And that's kind of degrading. It's a privilege for me. And me talking down to her saying, wow, you've never. In her life, she experiences whatever, and she can live with that, and she's fine with that. It's when you get to external, that's the end. That's what I'm thinking about. Is me asking her conflicting arguments with, how she grew up. And I say, well, I can see color, and I do have two eyes, and I can see peripheral vision or whatever. And now she has to think about that and say, well, what if I could see color? Would I be happier? Well, let's just share the knowledge. We have to understand that with knowledge comes the price. So let's get back on track. So I have 3 arms. Richard has 1. And he says, well, I have 1 arm. How does it feel having 3 arms? I'm sure you could do way more. And I say, yeah, well, I can. I can do more than you. But is that something to be ashamed about, that I can do more than you because I was born like this? He shouldn't feel bad because he was born with 1 arm and I wasn't. He shouldn't feel less than me because he was born with something that I don't have. He should be grateful that we're all different, because if we were all the same at the end of the day, that would be pretty cruel. And the human mind is all about differences. We all like to feel like we have these solo experiences, but there's people out there, 7 billion humans out there. 7 billion humans. And it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around sitting down in my bed.